is your course selling, but it's just not making you the amount of profit you want. You may get a lot of revenue, but you realize your profit margins have dropped. Or even if your revenue is low and you just can't figure out why you have so many support tickets and stuff like that, and you're just struggling to get by with your courses, stay tuned. We're going to show you why. All right, everybody, we're in here. I want to break down the money math behind your course sales and why it is important for you to sell high ticket sales moving forward in 2020. So if you want to take a look real quick, let's say you were charging, we're gonna stay low. It's 9. We're gonna stay with even numbers just to make stuff easy. Say you're charging $100 for a course. Well, if you do the math, 10 people, so 10 people means you will make $1,000. 100 people means you're going to make $10,000. 1,000 people means you're going to make $100,000. You need 10,000 people to make $1 million. That is a lot of people. You have to have a huge audience because you got to think the percentage of your audience that's actually purchasing your product is not the whole entire audience. So like for you to get 10,000 sales, you really need a following of 1 million people. And that's just ridiculous. And there's plenty of people out there that are willing to pay top dollar for the same value and the same information. You just need to package it better. You need to get on the phone and close instead of sending them to a sales page. You got to understand, you have to sacrifice a little bit. So a lot of people are like, I don't want to get on the phone. I'm not good at selling on the phone. You're not selling on the phone, guys. The product should already be sold. You convince them in your offer, in your webinar, and whatever you give them free, everything. They're on the phone because they want what you have. So you got to remember, when you get on the phone, you're just finishing giving them value and answering questions they have. You are not selling them a thing. They got on the phone for a certain reason. And it's because you have something they don't have. And that's the knowledge inside your head. So let's break this down. Let's say you sell a $1,000 course, right? So we got a $1,000 course. At 10 people, we now have $10,000. At 100 people, we now have $100,000. At 1,000 people, we now have $1 million. So now, just going from $100 product or 97, whatever you charge, to $1,000, you have went from 10,000 to 1,000 people. Now your audience is if I have an audience of 100,000 people or even 10,000 people, you can make that, right? Because say 10% of your audience buys. So 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. You can make $1 million. If you do it correctly, you can make $1 million off 1,000. But let me show you, that is still a struggle. You have a lot of problems with low ticket items like this. See, so you have support tickets. You'll have chargebacks. You'll have refunds. You'll have you'll have more people complaining. The people that pay the least expect the most. It doesn't matter what it is, that's business. People that pay the least expect the most. Even when you go to restaurants, you see it. The people that complain the most about the food are paying the least amount of money. You could have somebody pay $100 for a steak and it may not be good, but they're not going to complain. That's just, it is what it is. But the people that pay $10 are going to complain and be like, why is this like this? Why does this taste bland? Why is this overcooked? Why is this burnt? They're the most complaining people. And the same thing goes in business. If you're doing a digital advertising agency, if you advertise for somebody paying you $1,000 a month versus somebody paying you $5,000 a month, the person paying you $5,000 a month gives you the money and they leave you alone. The person giving you $1,000 a month is like, why have I not made a sale today? Why have I not done this today? Why is this taking so long? How many people are going to call me today? And they just want. And that's the same thing you get with these. People for $1,000 want you to call them. They want you to text them. They want you to give them so much of your time, which is very valuable. So you got to remember that if your time is valuable, which it is, because all of our time is valuable. you need to understand and you need to charge more. So let's jump over here to the next category. Let's say you charge $5,000. And you're probably like, Austin, that's a lot of money. No, $5,000 is not a lot of money. Literally, people pay $100,000 to go to college. You can't learn how to create YouTube videos in college. And guess what? You can probably get a course for YouTube for less than $5,000. And even if you pay $5,000, it's probably for somebody that's doing good. So you pay them $5,000, you learn how to do YouTube, and guess what? You're making $100,000 next year just on YouTube videos. That's the difference. So take 5,000, multiply it by 10, and now you have $50,000. $50,000. You were making $1,000 for 10 people. You now have $50,000. Like most people in the United States or wherever you may be, do not make $50,000 in a year. That's the average household income practically for a family. $50,000 by 10 people to say yes. That's less than one a month to tell you yes for the knowledge in your head. Doesn't matter what it is. If you can sell on Amazon, you can sell it for $5,000 and teach somebody. If you could literally show somebody, teach them how to sell on Amazon and how they can make $50,000 a year on Amazon, and what their outcome will be if they go through the course, how to lose weight and stay fit and stuff while you're a traveling businessman, they'll pay you $5,000. Like, that's a thing. Now let's move on to 100 people. We just jumped up to $500,000. Imagine if your audience is only 1,000 people. You're like, Austin, I don't have a big audience. My audience is like 1,000 people. 10% of 1,000 is 100. You can make $500,000. That easy. And I'm not talking about the people that are in the maybe zone. You can convert them too. The yes, no, maybes. You still have a lot of potential for growth right here. And then again, going to high ticket, like I said, less chargebacks, less complaints. You can spend, because now look, for every 10 people I have, I'm making 50x the amount I was over here. I could give them 50 times more of my time and value to make sure they are getting where I told them they will get. I will give them that, like, if your offer says, this is what you will achieve at the end of the results, I could give them more of my time and knowledge, and I could put more money, I can invest more in myself to make sure that they could get to where I told them they could get. Well, let's move on to 1,000 people. We are now at $5 million. $5 million for 1,000 sales at $5,000. It's a lot more attainable. And I'm not saying you're going to attain this in a year or a month. I'm not saying you'll ever attain it, but it is a lot more attainable than getting this to 5 million. That would be 50,000 people. 50,000 people to tell you yes to your $1,000. And that's not including chargebacks. That's not including refunds. That's not including your staff to maintain, like your employee, like your staff to cover 50,000 people is going to be big. You got to have people doing, your support tickets are going to be through the roof. You got to have somebody on top of that every day, on top of your social media, on top of everything. You're going to have a lot more overhead with this. You can see when we're selling low ticket items to where we are, when we converted over to high ticket sales, our profit margins jumped by literally, like, I want to say about 40 to 50%. Even though our revenue went down, the profit went up. So revenue went down, right? But profit went up. And you may be like, Austin, but if your revenue went down, you're not making as much money. No, I'm making more money because I'm making 30% more on the profit side than I was before. So you can see, I was just breaking down money math because a lot of people overlook this. If you like videos like this, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you could be alerted every time we upload new videos. We're uploading all kinds of videos lately on how to grow your digital education business. So stay tuned for the next one.